Investigators are still here, and that is because there are plenty of questions that need to be answered at this hour, and it's an extremely sensitive situation, as you can imagine. Emotions are running high. Yeah, Jeff, and right out of the gate here, we just want to make sure that everyone in Lima and Allen County know that they are safe. Neighbors in Bettsville say they smelled natural gas moments before they heard an explosion. And so this is a real hands-on education that the kids need, really, essentially, to remember what to do. 43 pounds of dynamite within each smokestack, and we've talked a lot about the preparations. What they're hoping for is the two stacks you see on the left are going to fall towards the left of your screen. But the roar around this track is unbelievable. If you've never been here, it's something to hear. So whether you're in the infected room or the blown away room, the idea is to get out within 60 minutes so you don't become trapped, Toledo. Once these volunteers are gone, those with the city say it's up to the neighbors to keep their blight down.
Live from WTVG Toledo, this is 13 ABC Action News.
And hi there, good morning. 6:31 here on this Thursday. We are following some breaking news of a house fire that went out. Could be the scene of another crime, and it just caught fire again.
This happened just moments ago. 13 ABC's Tony Geftos is there on the 100 block of Houseman. We understand you're all calling 911 out there.
Yeah, we just called 911 because we saw the wind pick up and then it blew through the window and kicked up the flames. Once again, this house is reigniting. So we're potentially seeing a fire starting here at the same place where it happened right around 3:20, and those flames are getting more and more intense. So if anybody's watching us in this neighborhood, this is 134 Houseman. The house just caught fire again. It went right up the side of the inside wall there. And we would caution everybody who's on either side of this home to evacuate or at least be extremely cautious. We also want the Toledo Firefighters to come down here once again because it did reignite again. I'm going to run across the street, start knocking on some doors just to make sure that everybody's safe, and we're going to continue to stay on this. So as again, when you can see this happening right in front of you, you know, the panic starts to set in. That happened very, very quickly. Initially, the man said that somebody set fire to his house after they broke in, held a gun to his head, and he escaped through the front window with a gash on his head. However, we are once again seeing this house go right up in flames. Now, the man who lived here earlier, he was actually, according to neighbors, renting from one of his family members. Here's a TARPS bus coming by, and he was okay. He was taken to the hospital. But this fire, which was extinguished, has now once again reignited. Again, I am going to go across the street and knock on some doors just to make sure that everybody is all right in this situation. If you want to keep the live pictures up, that is fine. But I'm going to check on the safety of everyone in this neighborhood, Jeff and Sasham.
Okay, I want to hold on this for just a moment as Tony does make his way across the street. And we heard earlier that this was possibly the site, as Tony was saying, of another crime that happened earlier. At this point, we want to point out there is nobody in that house.
That's right. Nobody's in the house. The homeowner actually got out, was talking to Tony earlier, but just in the last, 30 seconds to 1 minute, we saw those flames in only that window you see on the left. It is now pouring out. The fire pouring out of this house has spread within that one room. We're seeing thick black smoke, this all developing here. The fire just reigniting as the wind changed directions. And we're seeing Tony, a number of other people who were at the scene there reporting on that initial fire, now notifying residents, knocking on doors, and again, to alert our viewers.
You know, I just went and banged on the doors really loudly, yelled fire, wanted to make sure that everybody knew. As you can see, this fire, as you mentioned, no one's in the house itself. However, when the houses are this close together, it could potentially spread very quickly, and we're seeing it all happen live. I'm a little short of breath just from running and yelling, so I have to excuse me. But
Tony, how long ago did firefighters leave the scene?
It's only been about maybe an hour and a half, but it was pretty well out. In fact, you can see the furniture in the front yard. They took that out of the house because it was smoldering, and they are rolling in as fast as they can. We can clearly see smoke coming through the roof of this house as well, so this is going to be a tough fire because looking up overhead, we've got some power lines. They've already got the axes ready. They've been here before, so they know there was no one inside of this house. That gives them an advantage because they don't have to run in and put themselves at risk when they're trying to battle these flames. Really, the primary directive now is going to be to get them out, and if they can't get them out within the first few minutes, they're going to try to save the homes on either side. Pretty remarkable when we see it go from start to finish like this. This opens up. There's still a fervor at the mall as shoppers rush to get a place in line, all for these shoes. Jordan 11s by Nike. The limited edition sneakers are set to go on sale this Saturday. This morning, Finish Line at Franklin Park Mall promised to hand out vouchers.
I got to win a ticket, baby.
Tickets will allow shoppers to come back to buy a pair of Jordan 11s for $200. But before the vouchers were handed out, there was a scuffle between shoppers and security.
I was even trying to tell them, everybody get back, and then they just start piling up.
Just before 6 this morning, the line had grown to several hundred people. Toledo police say mall security had called for assistance with the crowd. At one point, that crowd surged, pushing past a barricade and knocking an officer to the ground. That's when police fired pepper spray and mace.
Pepper spray, paintball guns, mace.
I got shot in the forehead. Crazy.
It was just going everywhere like a magic show.
An hour later, that crowd reappeared, rushing to regain spots in the line once again.
I pulled up right after everything was over with, and when I got up, I kind of walked right up there to the line, so there wasn't really that much commotion for me. I just got lucky.
Police eventually escorted small groups into the mall until Finish Line finished handing out all of those tickets. A spokesperson for TPD says no one was hurt and no one was arrested. Now officers are planning to work with the mall to prepare for Saturday, when some of this crowd will return to pick up these shoes. In Toledo, Tony Geftos, 13 ABC Action News.
Every family has good children. Dawn, this is a little bit different. I said she walked with God her whole life.
Dawn celebrated her life, she celebrated her family, she celebrated her friends. Dawn connected with everyone she met, and she provided a beautiful example of how to live life to the fullest.
She always had a way of making you feel really special.
She was special not because of what she did at SeaWorld, but because what she did in her own life.
There's no question the life of Dawn Brancheau was extraordinary. From her early years in Indiana to her rise to fame as a whale trainer at SeaWorld Orlando, Dawn left a lasting impression.
When we watched her, you just couldn't have just joy. I mean, that's all you felt from her.
Dawn's sister, Debbie Fragamini, lives in the Toledo area. She's now helping carry the torch in honor of Dawn, whose life was cut short at the age of 40.
She was just a blessed person, so I think that it resonates out throughout the Toledo community even now, 4 years after her death, and so her spirit lives on, really does.
In 2010, after 14 years of working with killer whales, tragedy struck. Not during a performance, but behind the scenes. During an enrichment exercise, Tillicum, the whale co-workers call one of Dawn's favorites, pulled Dawn under, and she drowned. Since the loss of Dawn, SeaWorld has not been the same. Trainers have stricter rules about interactions with the whales and no longer swim with them. Dawn's friends and family are also forever changed.
When we had the accident occur, we just kind of wanted to take the energy and that came from that kind of loss and try to move it in a positive direction.
That positive direction is the Dawn Brancheau Foundation, a nonprofit organization run by Dawn's family, including those in Toledo. This year, they built a playground for homeless children at Matthews Hope in Florida. They're also planting community gardens such as this one at Edgewood Children's Ranch, and buying furniture for the Central Florida Children's Home.
Oh, they are very gracious to us. I believe this year is bunk beds.
All in the name of Dawn.
It means the world. It is. It's just incredible. The foundation does so many amazing, incredible things. They keep doing more every year, and it's just so special to be part of it to help that out.
Raising money is a whole other project. It starts with their biggest fundraiser of the year, the Dream Big 5K, a run through SeaWorld Orlando combining Dawn's initials, DB, with her philosophy, Dream Big. Many of the runners here this morning are workers at SeaWorld. Others are with nonprofit organizations that are supported by the Dawn Brancheau Foundation.
This foundation was established to honor Dawn and to keep her bright light shining in our world. And we thank all of you for helping us by dreaming big, thinking of Dawn often, and being the best you can be.
makes you feel good. Dawn made everyone feel good, and this is her payback to them, really.
And it's not just the Dream Big 5K. There are permanent reminders of Dawn's legacy across the park. This is the Dawn Brancheau Educational Complex. In here, after the 4th annual race, volunteers packed food for the hungry and filled separate bags with pet supplies for dog adoptions. Then, Dawn's family drove to Give Kids the World to clean the villa they've adopted in Dawn's name. It's an extraordinary way to honor a woman who inspired so many to reach high, give back, and dream big.
She always knew she wanted to work at SeaWorld and train killer whales.
It's great to be here. We wouldn't want to be anyplace else because we love Dawn.
It's absolutely emotional, and what happened was very sad and tragic, but it's very uplifting. The whole day is.
We're here this morning celebrating an incredible life.
It's just kind of part of the grieving process, I believe. We just kind of did our best to always try to mirror her interests and project out into the community all the goodness that we felt she brought to us.
In this September, Dawn's friends and family will also gather in her hometown outside of Chicago for a walk in her honor. If you'd like to learn more about the Dawn Brancheau Foundation, we posted a link at 13abc.com. And on a personal note, I'd like to thank those close to Dawn for opening up to us and allowing us to tell her story. Lee, Diane.
Quite a legacy.
Yeah, and we had no idea, and it was so inspiring to see what everybody's doing in her name.
Right, the strength goes throughout her family.
It's amazing. Oh. All right, Tony, thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Here's Tony Geftos with the original, the one and only Restaurant Report Card.
If your restaurant has bugs, such as cockroaches, the Lucas County Health Department wants you to contact a licensed pest control service, because even the dead ones are a violation. Health inspectors say they spotted a couple of dead cockroaches at the Waffle House on South Reynolds. It had 16 violations, 11 critical. That includes those dead cockroaches under shelving in the dry storage room, bare hand contact with toast, and chili cooling in an ice bath. The owner of the Waffle House on South Reynolds says they've fixed everything that was on the report right away. As for the dead bugs, the owner says a licensed pest control company comes out every month. He adds, the one the health inspector pointed out, I picked it up, and it was a cricket, not a cockroach. I was there yesterday. I haven't seen any bugs. I've got glue strips out, and if you have an infestation, you'd have them on your glue strips. We don't have a bug problem. Meantime, Way Restaurant on North Reynolds had 13 violations, 5 critical. No hot water at the kitchen hand sink, chicken sitting out at room temperature, and no date marks on food. 13ABC spoke with the owner over the phone, but we're still waiting for a response. Finally, Max and Irma's on Arrowhead and Maumee had 17 violations, 6 critical. Whipped cream at the Sunday station holding at room temperature, noodles and ribs without date marks, and the dish machine was not dispensing chlorine. A manager at the Max and Irma's in Maumee tells 13ABC a lot of those were extremely minor. We're pretty spotless right now. The big thing is the dishwasher. The sanitizer wasn't quite where it was supposed to be, and that was an Ecolab thing. Ecolab came out and fixed it before the health inspector even left the building. Now a drum roll for the restaurants with 0 violations, including Murphy's Bluebird Cafe on Woodville Road. It's violation free. So how do you keep it clean?
I have a great crew here. My bartenders do their job, and Donna Maynard, my manager, head bartender, if you will, she's a beast. She just keeps it clean.
In other words, a good crew can run a tight ship. For the Restaurant Report Card, Tony Geftos, 13ABC Action News.
And Tony the drummer. Here are some other restaurants with 0 violations.
The countdown is on to the first pitch at 4 o'clock down at Fifth Third Field downtown. The Mud Hens are going to storm the field for opening day. And with me right now is a hen who needs no introduction. That would be Muddy the Mud Hen. How you doing? Now, I know a lot of your fine feathered friends head south for the winter, but I've seen you over in the Huntington Center, so I know that's where you hang out a little bit. Are you excited about opening day? Oh man, it's a humdinger. That's right. So you're not going to be here stag, I take it, right? You've got a date, right? Madonna will be here as well. And the two of you a lot of times celebrate. I've seen the two of you dance. So would you be kind enough to just show us a few of your moves, some of the muddy moves? All right, study these at home. Slide to the left, slide to the right, yeah. And then Crisscross? All right, excellent. Well, thanks very much for being down here, Muddy, and I'm sure a lot of folks are going to want photo ops with you, and you're going to be working the crowd like usual, right? It's opening day. Thank you so much for being here.